Step into the light where the wild ones roam, where the heart speaks loud, calling this place home. We break the rules, we paint the sky, ridiculously you, we were born to fly. Ooh, it's ridiculously you.
Hey everyone, it is Julie May on the Ridiculously You podcast. Today's guest is like a walking permission slip for anyone who's ever felt like they had to choose between blending in and being fabulously themselves. This is Gwen Patrone. She is fabulously herself. She went from being a Marine Corps sergeant to digital marketing CEO, from a salon owner to a best-selling author with names like Richard Branson and Tracy. She's a culinary diva, which I can't wait to hear more about because I love all things food. So she's got all of these amazing accolades, has been a business giant for a really long time. And today we're going to talk about reinvention, resilience, radical truth, and what happens when you stop asking permission and start cooking up a little bit of life that looks like you. So welcome, Dr. Gwen Patrone, to the show. I'm so excited to have you
Hey,
here.
Julie. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on here. And let's talk about some stuff.
Let's talk about some stuff. Okay, so I would like to hear a little bit more about your business background, because that's where I met you first. I met you on a Marketer's Cruise, which is like, here's all these business gurus, and we're all going to be our tough business selves and all the things, right? But it's also kind of a cool place to go and be yourself and kind of experiment with things a little bit. So tell me a little bit about your business background. And the thing I want to know a little bit more about, and we're going to ask more about, is when you started dressing more as Gwen, more as the ideal you, more as how you really feel inside, how did that affect everything you had built in business? So let's go there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a lot of it does revolve around the Marketer's Cruise, where we had met. And the reason why I say that is because I had gone to the Marketer's Cruise for a number of years. Male mode. I call it male mode. And I had no clue about Gwen, none. And when I started to discover Gwen, I asked Lou and Phyllis that were there. We were in Cocoa Beach. I remember this, in Cocoa Beach at that time. And I said, Lou, this is me too. And I showed a picture. I said, do you mind if I go on the cruise like this? And I mean, because I'm always about harmony. I wanted to ask permission if it's okay. And they're like so accepting, fantastic, and everything. And it was funny because I had packed 95% female clothes and only like 5% just in case clothes. So I really kind of burnt the bridges, you know. And from that point on, it was fantastic. It was a big step because some of the people on there were actually members of my company. They had no idea, and it was a big step for me because they were like the number one income earners on my and affiliates of my company. And so I was really nervous about that, but I just felt it was time for me um, to come out and just be who I was at the time. And when I say at the time, it was because for many people, such as myself in the trans community, they know from very, very early on that this is who I am, right? And
Yeah.
they either are female in a male body, male in a female body, and they just know. And I didn't, that's not me. I just didn't know. But when I was younger, 12, 13, 14, 15, in the adolescent area, I would look at a woman, I'd be like, God, she's gorgeous. I want to do her, right? It's like, hold on, right? But then I was like, I wonder what it's like to be her. Wow, she's so pretty. And I would flip myself on the other side of that dynamic. And I found it so fascinating to be on that side, you know, and the attractor, attractee, and that type of thing. But back in the early 70s, there's no internet, there's nobody to talk to. My mom was very religious, brought me up in a religious household. So I was like, oh, I shouldn't think like that. Oh, I shouldn't think like that. And one thing led to another, and something happened where I thought my sister found out, and I shut it off and I compartmentalized it. I'm very good at that. Just compartmentalize it and almost forgot about it for 45 years. 45 years. And fast forward to 2019, my wife goes, we've been married 35 years. And she goes, I'm going to take you out for Halloween. I had no clue about Gwen, nothing. We're going to take you out for Halloween. And she goes, I'm going to dress you female. I'm like, why would you want to do that? Because I didn't have a clue. I'm like, no, but happy wife, happy life. So she was one of the managers and running a business of one of the top salons in Madison Avenue, New York City. So she did shows all over the world. So she was excellent. And I would help them with the payroll, and I would see them transform people and take a girl and be like, okay, she's okay. But then at the end, when they're done, they're like, holy cow, she's gorgeous, right? So I'd see the whole transformation. So I was familiar with all of that. And I'd always been an entrepreneur since the age of 5. I just had that bug in me to do stuff like that. And so I was always doing something, buying, selling stuff. And I learned from my mom to be an entrepreneur. And I had gone into the restaurant business at that time, before that time. And then I moved to New York City and started working in cosmetology. And I wanted to be an owner. So I started to look and learn and just observe from a top-down approach as far as business. So I watched her transform these people. And at that time, I didn't have a clue. But we went to Atlantic City. There's like 300 people there, 250, 300 people. And I'm shaking like this. And I took a few drinks. I'm like, okay. And I went down. I had such a good time. I had such a good time because I was coming, unbeknownst to me, I was coming into myself, right? And then I started saying, why did I have such a good time? I didn't understand. Then as a coach, because I coach people, you start asking questions like why, well, why, and you ask questions about it and have them bring it out from themselves. Coaches ask questions to have the person take it out of themselves because they believe the answer's already inside.
Exactly.
And mentors teach them, right? Totally, mentor and coach totally different. So coaching, you ask questions and you have the person pull it out of themselves. So I was doing that to myself, and then it hit me. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot when I 12, 13, 14, 15, I forgot. And like clock, it was just like fate. 2 months from then, I had an arrhythmia operation, a heart arrhythmia. I'm looking up. I remember Star Trek machines over me and everything. It was like an 8-hour operation. And then before that happened, I'm like, if I die right now, is anybody going to cry? Is anybody going to come to my funeral? I'm like, maybe my family, but who else? And I'm like, what do I give a F what they think? Right? What do I care? Because the big thing for cross-dressers and a lot of people is what do other people think, right? It's always what do other people think? So that was a big thing for me too, obviously. And I'm like, what are they going to think? And I'm like, what do I care what they think? They're just passing through. And if I don't explore Gwen, I'm gonna regret it. And I didn't want to leave life and die or whatever, regretting it. And I said, I'm gonna go and start to explore Gwen. And like you have in the back of your screen, flowers, sunflowers, right?
Yeah.
So I look at it as Gwen has always been there. She's been germinating and everything blooms in his own time. And in her own time, his own time. They all bloom whenever. They just wait. It's like you don't plant corn and say in a week you're going to pull it up because it didn't grow. It has a germination process, right? Same thing and everybody's germination process is different. Mine took 45 years, right? And some people they know when they're 5 or 10 or 15. They just know, right? Because they bloomed. And so I started to think, okay, let me explore that. And then COVID happened. So that fear of what other people think was a little subsided because I could wear a mask and go outside and they wouldn't see me.
Yeah.
So I was able to go outside and get and kind of deaden the fear of what other people think. And I found out that people really don't care. They're just going about their life and they don't really care that, and they're like, hey, and they might look at you a little bit or, I still get the chuckle and the grins and, that kind of thing. And I get this, hey, sir, and I still get all that stuff. So I learned what to get upset about, what not to get upset about. And I just let the things that didn't matter flow off, just roll off my back, and then keep on building my confidence. And from that point on, I would go a little bit further, cross-dressing at that point.
Yeah.
And a little bit further, and I would do a little bit more. And how much can I do to be able to go further, but still go backwards if I needed to, if it didn't work out?
Right.
So we had a doorman building and where we lived in New York, and I would be going in and out, and people, and the doorman would go to my wife, "What's your husband? Your husband looks different. What's he doing? What's he doing?" Feel the eyebrows, and I get my
Yeah,
ear
yeah.
pierced or something, like something, and I would let my nails grow longer and stuff at that point. But she's, "Oh, nothing, nothing. He looks great. What's he doing?" So, but fast forward, we moved here to Florida. We're in Naples now, a number of years ago, and I kept on progressing further. And January of this year, I got breast augmentation, and with ultimately to get where I'm at now, which is bigger, because I'm a big person. I'm 6'3", and so I did it for the second time. Second
Yeah.
time, bigger. So it's just because it's just me. I knew it was me. That's not what I wanted. Everything is me, and so I'm here today with who I am. But I said that only to go back to the marketers cruise, and then I packed that way, and that was a pivotal point where it was you break through these terror barriers that you have in your life, that it's like a shield and you can't get by it. And one of those, I had to break through that and ask Lou and Phyllis, "Can I do this?" And then it was like, "Oh, it's not that bad. Wow, it's really not as bad as I thought."
Yeah.
And then you go through and you domesticate the fear, and
Yeah.
eventually the domestication of the fear leads to, I can do anything. And if I can do this, well, I can certainly do that, right? And that's the stoicism type thing. If I did this, I could do that. And so now it's like every time I do something, I want to try to push it a little bit further, because my circle of the terror barrier, I call it, is better and better and better, and I kind of expand my limitlessness of what I can do and what I can accomplish. So that's a really long story of the whole thing, but hopefully you kind of get the gist of what I was saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you tell us how you came upon the name of Gwen for yourself?
Oh, sure, that's easy. Gwen Stefani.
Oh yeah?
I love her. She's and my wife loves her too. I love her too, and she's an entrepreneur. She's so fashion oriented, and she's so talented and creative and stuff, that I just decided, immediately that was the name I wanted. And Patron is weird because I just saw a liquor bottle that said Patron on it. I said, that's a little bit short. Let me put an E on the end. And I said, because I'm spicy.
Because I'm stuffy.
Because I'm spicy. Patron, because
Oh,
I'm
that's
spicy.
too funny. So you talked about pushing the barriers and those limits and stuff within like the way that you dress and present. How has that shown up in your business too? Because once you're, you know, out there not fearing as much, I think you see business differently too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I For the last 35 years, I've done almost everything digital online since, well, I guess 98 was the digital part starting, but before that was all marketing and so on, but mainly digital, everything digital. So I really didn't have to go to work and physically meet people to any great extent. Everything was all virtual. And I was really ahead of my time. Sorry, my hair was crazy. I was really ahead of my time in that regard. And then my company, I opened in 1998, and everything was, I said, why do I have to take orders and then pay my affiliates? Why can't they just pay each other directly? And then I would save money with the merchant account. It was just, and then I would go to the bank and they're like, "You're doing millions of dollars out of your apartment. What do you do? What kind of business you running?" And they didn't get it. They didn't get
Yeah.
it. I was way ahead of my time. And then during COVID, everybody was coming to me to be able to work from home, because that's what I
Yeah.
taught people to do for years, the decades. And so way ahead of my time. But during that time, I really didn't have to meet people specifically. So I was always in mail mode, and that was before I even knew about Gwen. So I say that only to say, at this point, a lot of my contacts only know me as Peter. Um, and I just saw no reason to tell them. There was just no reason, because they don't meet me. They just sit, and I guess I'm very lucky in that I can present male or female very easily. This is a wig,
Yeah.
obviously. Then this comes off, and then the makeup comes off, and I show from here up, and they don't know any different. I get all the time. They're like, "Wow, you look great. What are you doing? What are you doing? At 65, what are you doing? And like, oh no, just eat right, work out."
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, there's no reason for them to know. Um, I decided strategically where to do that. But in Florida and Naples, I'm 100% Gwen all the time. Virtually, if they don't need to meet me, what do they need to know for? So I felt it was a way to go, and for financial purposes, that I didn't really feel like I needed to go in that direction to burn bridges or whatever, people that might not accept me the way I am. At some point, I'll do that. But at that point, I just didn't feel a need to present myself as Gwen all the time.
Right.
Although in Florida, I do it all the time. So it was really a financial slash strategic decision to do it when I needed to, but in Florida all the time.
Mm. What did your wife and kids think about that?
As far as Gwen and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we got married a long time ago. We married 35 years. She's wonderful, very accepting. And she was like, "Why didn't you tell me that you wanted to be female when we got married?" I was like, "I didn't know. I had no clue. I didn't have a clue. I didn't remember." And I didn't remember until 29 years into the marriage, and all of a sudden, boom, you know. And but since that point, she was always accepting. Listen, I just want you to be happy. I just want to be happy, and that's all I can really ask, you know. And I just kept on progressing further. And you know, every once in a while, you know, she married her husband. So,
Yeah.
and I respect that. So I'm very big into harmony and making having people be happy. And so sometimes she says, "Can I have my husband back just for a little bit? Just can we go on a date night and have my husband back?" I'm like, "Fine, fine." You know. I my personal view on, at least for me, because I said many people's transgender experience is totally different than mine. They knew from very young, and totally respect that because that's their experience. Mine was, I look at it as a yin and yang. It's a fight for energy, and
Mm.
for me, my male energy dominated for 60 years, except for a little bit when I was younger. Then she started coming out and poking her head out. But Gwen didn't germinate until I was almost 60.
Mm.
So, so if this is the male energy and this is the female energy, then she started to bloom and go over this, and she overcame the male energy, and now the female energy dominates, and that's how I kind of view my experience, and that the male energy is still there, and I appreciate that because I didn't dislike being male, so I take the best part of being male and I keep it, and I use it when necessary, but now Gwen dominates of that and starts to really infiltrate everything because from the time I went to that Halloween party, I fed Gwen all the time. You know, more female, more female. It's like if you ever heard the old Indian proverb of the father and the son. Hey, there's two wolves, the good and the bad, or you know, just opposite, right?
Yes.
Fighting. Which one's going to win? He says, whichever one you feed. And I
Yeah.
kept on feeding Gwen, try and go a little further. And then she eventually eclipsed the male part of me, but they're still there.
Hmm.
And I embrace both of them to use them to my advantage and whenever I need to, because I can be, if I need to, you know, but, and I can be Gwen, and I prefer to be Gwen. So for me, it was, I, I choose to be female more than I choose to be male. And when other people, it's just more black and white. And again, I respect totally what their experience. Mine was different.
Mm. What do you think the biggest misconception people have about trans people is?
Oh, misconception. Well, I think the big problem is media because we only see a small sliver of what the media says, and the media is there just to get eyeballs and clicks.
Yeah.
And they don't get eyeballs and clicks on good news; they get eyeballs and clicks on controversy. And there's so many media outlets out there, online, mainstream, non-mainstream, and they're all fighting for our attention. So they get more and more fantastic to get the clicks over somebody else. And unless they're that fantastic, they're not going to get the clicks. Going to go to somebody else. So it's a fight with the media, and so mainstream that only gets bits and pieces of information. That's all they see about trans people, and so that's what I said before. When people say you're nothing like I thought you would be, that's all they see,
Yeah.
right? And I know so many people, former military, and just people. They say, "Listen, I just want to be a good neighbor, and I want to live my life, and I don't want to harm anybody." And I think that's the mass majority of people in the trans community that are that way. And of course, you have extremes on both sides, but the news picks out the 1%, the 2%. of the extreme, and they think it's everybody, and it's not. So overcoming that is one of my goals of changing people's perception one person at a time to say, hey, you're nothing like I thought would be. Great. That's what I'm looking for. And open up. I'm like, I've gone to clubs where I've seen girls, 20 something year old girls, point, point, point. And I go over, okay, hey, I couldn't help but notice you were pointing at me. What do you want to know?
Let's just have a
They're
conversation.
like, oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, open book. But you had to ask me something, So it's great, and that's my goal, is to. And they're so happy that I'm open to them, and I joke around and have a good time, and I don't think if I get mispronounced or something that I don't care. I just joke around, have a good time. I smile, confidence, and all of that plays into disarming people, and then they just open up and just start talking to me.
Mm. So tell me a little bit more about who you are, who Gwen is beyond that, because it's like if somebody, I usually have pink at the end of my hair. If somebody like the only thing they wanted to talk to me about was but you do have pink in your hair, and you do dye your hair pink, and you do have blonde hair, even though it's brown hair, like you dye it blonde. Like if that's all people wanted to talk to me about, I'd be like, I am a human being beyond the color of my hair. So tell me a little bit about who you are outside of all that.
Wow. Well, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I love business. I love to create things, and especially digital stuff. But outside of that, I'm a foodie. So I love cooking. I love food. I kind of rediscovered that from my restaurant days in the 1980s. And where I live now, I live in a 55 and older community, and I created a cooking club called Foods of the World. And every month, people come together and they just pay for the food. And I explore different cultures and cuisines every month. So it could be anything from Vietnamese to Moroccan, right? So it caused me to want to get back into cooking, and not just cooking, but exploring the love of food. And so I enjoy doing that. But then I decided wow, enjoying the love of food, maybe I can do something online. Right, and do it because I would flip through. Everybody flips through TikTok and Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, recipe, I can do that." That's what I thought. I said, "I can do that." How many followers you got? 800,000 followers. Holy crap! Wow, I can. So I was like, I can do that. And then I was thinking, well, I flipped through and you see a girl come up and she wiggles the boobs, right? I'm like, how many followers you got? I'm like, I can do that. So so I came up with a channel that's there. It's going to launch soon, but it's bringing the romance and the flirtatiousness of cooking and stuff. It's called Culinary and Cleavage, right?
Oh, that's fun.
So flirting and food and love of food and just being fun and light airiness of it, and learning and trying different things, and being very disarming to people, but sexy outfits and things like that. So, Sexy Chef Gwen and Culinary and Cleavage. And so that's my next project that I've been kind of planting and ready to go. The channels are all set up. I just got to get the time to start making some food and having fun with it.
That.
So I love doing that. And I love to write. You saw me on Facebook, so I write a lot. I've written, wow, 4 books as Gwen and 6 books as Peter. Like I said, I've written with Brian Tracy, Sir Richard Branson, a number of people, collaborative stuff. And I just like to write every single day on Facebook to try to help people. But my philosophy is always, I know I'm going to write more books. So you don't write books in one day, you write them little by little by little. And then now I have a whole plethora of different things I can pick from to put it together. I could probably write 5 books in 2 days with all the stuff I posted over the years. That was my philosophy. Just kind of, if I get an idea, let it out, post it, with maybe later on I'll use it for a book or an idea or something that I want to put it together on. But sometimes it's a curse. You like to do so many different things that you got to pick one thing to really go with. You're juggling so many different things. So that's I battle with that sometimes, where I do so many different things. I got to focus on one. But that's what I'm doing now, writing and the culinary aspect of everything.
What's your favorite kind of food?
Favorite what?
Favorite kind of food?
Ooh, Thai food. No question.
No question.
No question. Yeah, Thai food, then Italian food, then Mediterranean food. Yeah, Thai food it's because it's a feast for everything, sweet, sour, salty, it's all the different flavors, and you can go spicy and go in whole different directions for it. I just find it's the most, um, it's a big exploration for your taste buds, right?
Mm,
To be able to experience so many different types of flavors. And just the people are so friendly and everything too. And I just love Thai food so much. It's excellent. And so I've learned how to make a lot of different curries from Thai food and different seafoods and different things like that. So it's excellent food.
love that. I love Thai. So that's so good. So we talked about, what are people's misconceptions about being trans? What are people's misconceptions about being successful in business? You've had a successful business for a really long time.
Yeah.
What do people need to know about being successful in business?
Oh, well, almost 25 years I had my own company. And we did millions and millions and millions of dollars in business, but I did it with myself, my son, my wife, and that's it. Because I automated everything. I didn't feel the
Right.
need of having all of that because I did all digital. So, as far as business, it takes a real specific mindset to be able to overcome all of the tribulations that go on because it's tough. You have to when you start out, you have to have a lot of hats that you put on. You're pretty much doing everything, right?
Yeah.
And your 16-hour days, and you got to be willing to do that to be able to go through all the tough parts until something clicks. So, because at the beginning when I started, it wasn't clicking. It wasn't clicking right, and I had to keep on going and going and pushing through stuff, and all of a sudden it clicked, and then it just took off. And you'll find a lot of entrepreneurs that'll say, "Well, hey, I tried 8 or 9 or 10 things that didn't work, but all of a sudden one made a millionaire." Right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't stop. They didn't stop. And even when I spoke to Richard Branson, he said, listen, I have just as many ideas as everybody else, except for I just acted on them. And one or two or three of them clicked and it made me a billionaire. Right. But most people like they'd let it go through and it didn't work, didn't work, didn't work. And they quit after the first or second time. All this stuff doesn't work. Right. And you
Right.
have to keep going. You have to have that passion. I call it as my favorite book, Napoleon Hill, called The Think and Grow Rich. You have to have a white hot burning desire to want to do it. And your why has to be very strong. If your why is strong, you're going to go through brick walls to make it happen. If your why is not strong and it's just about making money, you're going to quit
Yeah.
because it's got to be stronger than that. So you have to have a dedication, you have to have a desire to want to go through and keep on going through everything, and then a discipline to work when other people are partying.
Yeah.
So
I would
other people
agree
want to
with
go around
that.
and say, listen,
Having,
I got to do this, I got to do this. And you got to have that discipline,
yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
sometimes it sucks, because you're working and people don't see all the grind that you have to go through. All they see is the success that somebody has, but they don't see the 10 years of grind that you went through or 10 months or whatever it happens to be for each person. And so it has to be a lot of mental toughness. And that's really ties into transitioning too, because you have to have a mental toughness. It's not just the money and the pain and the time and so on to go through, and that's all part of it. But you have to have the mental toughness to go through all of that because it's tough. And it's not just something that takes a year; it's like multi-year process. And if you have that mental toughness and you know why you're going to do it, and you feel comfortable with, hey, I'm making the right decision, then you can overcome anything.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't been in business as long as you. I'm more like 11 years, but supporting a family on it for the last 11 years and have had great successes with it. But
Yep.
like I always say, those pictures where people are on the beach and they have their little laptop and they're like, look at my office view today. I'm like, the things they're not telling you is they went on vacation and they're still working because that's what business is like
That's it.
sometimes. Is
That's
like,
it.
see, their families in the ocean, they're still finishing up jobs they had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, my
Like
sisters
it's
used to
good
get
and
on my
bad.
case all the time. You're always on the phone. This was before, it was during digital, but not as much as it is now. But I was always constantly on the phone, on the phone, on the phone,
Yeah.
walking around with my cell phone like attached to my ear. They're always on the phone. I'm like, well, that's what it takes.
Yeah. It does take a lot. Okay. Are you ready for a quick lightning round?
Yes, good.
Okay, cool. Your favorite wig when you want to feel invincible?
Oh, favorite wig. Like this, but blonde,
Yeah.
long hair blonde. I feel that blonde is super powerful. This is more my natural color.
Hmm.
But it's more, I feel, is like my normal me. If I feel I want to be like up and then I'll put on blonde and I'll be fabulous.
Favorite outfit when you want to feel just sexy and
Ooh,
amazing?
really?
Yeah,
Oh, string bikini.
string bikini. Nothing
Oh
wrong with
yeah, I did that, and we went. I told you we went to Key West for a fantasy fest. I just got back yesterday, and I said, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna wear my bikini all on the street, and I got stopped, like stop and stop. Can I take a picture? Take a picture. Take it, that kind of. And it
that.
was so empowering. It was like just to be able to walk around with almost next to nothing and minimalist clothing like that, to have the confidence to do that
Yeah,
is like super empowering. If you can get through that brick wall to do that, and know what other people think, it's like incredibly empowering. I've actually written about that many times, about what a woman would feel about walking through on a pool with a string bikini, all eyes go on them, and how
yeah.
they feel, right? And it's super empowering. And actually, after a while, my wife was like, okay, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough. I was like, no more, no. It was great. So yeah, string bikini was incredible. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, if your soul was a Disney character, who would you be?
Oh, Disney character. Let's see. That's a interesting question. Let me see. I'm thinking about some Disney characters. Um, I like Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Buzz Lightyear is, because he's going to space all over the place and doing stuff. I like Buzz Lightyear. Yeah.
yeah. And he's confident about everything. He's just like,
Oh
Worst
yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. He's like completely there. Okay.
Exactly. But it's like he's very proper, and follow the rules, and so I got a little bit of Woody in there too. Kind
Yeah.
of winging it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've wing it moments.
That makes sense. A song that instantly puts you in your main character mode.
Oh, let's see. Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger. Good one. Okay, this one's a fill in the blank. We're going to do two more. I used to be afraid of blank, but now I blank. I used to be afraid of this, but now you do something else.
Ah, I used to be afraid of. I know immediately. The first thing is I used to be afraid of speaking on stage because that's always
Mm.
very difficult. But now I see it as not a big deal because I've done it so many times. Speaking on stage is like even eclipses death for many people.
Yeah.
In front of 500 people, you're like, hum, what do you do? What do you do? But yeah, I used to be afraid of speaking on stage, but now it's really not a big problem. And I look at it as a way to express myself even more.
Mm. What's one thing you hope people never stop being curious about? I always say curiosity is good
Mm.
energy. When we see ourselves and others with curiosity, it's good. So what's one thing you hope people never stop being curious about?
It's always for me is so many people, they get to a certain part in their life. It's almost like football. They scored a touchdown and they spike the ball and they never grow. They never grow any.
Mm.
I'm done. I'm done. And it's always for me. It's so I want to learn more. I want to grow more. I want to be more. I want to be grateful, but not comfortable. I want to be grateful for what I have, but I want to grow more. I want to experience more. I want to see more cultures, more of myself. Who can I become? Um, and it's always that growth process because I can always be more tomorrow than I am today. And whether that's Gwen or that's a speaker or that's a writer or that's a culinary, whatever it happens to be, there's so much to learn and do and meet people that because I'm a little bit of a people person, as you can
Yeah.
tell, a little bit. So it's always the growth process is important to me.
I love that. I think that's true for all of us. Like the more curious we are about ourselves and finding out more about who we are, how to interact with other people, how the world works, how everything works, and view it with curiosity. I think bridges can
Yeah.
be made with curiosity when it's really in an open, I'm
Yeah,
trying
if
to
you think if you
understand.
think you've arrived and that you know everything, then you don't know anything. You just gotta. I know a lot, but there's so much I don't know, and that includes people and even opposing sides of opinions that maybe not align with the way I think. And I'm perfectly fine with that. And let's have a discussion and talk about what do you think, what I think. So you open your mind to what the discussion of the other person, try to understand them first. And then you can, because if you try not to understand them, it's this is the way I think, then you don't even hear the other person. So I want to hear what they have to say and understand what they have to say so I can kind of see where they're coming from to as much degree as I can, and to be able to understand where is there some way we can go from here to be able to collaboratively get together and move forward. So yeah, so it's always a learning process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about writing a lot on Facebook and getting a message out that way. What is the big message that you're hoping to get out through your writing right now?
For me, it's that we as trans people, we're just like I can't say just like everybody else because everybody's different, but to have people see us in a normal light as wow, you really aren't the way I thought. That's the main thing. Almost everything that I write is always like that, but everything that I write is always uplifting toward the end of what I write because I want people to leave with a positive note. Even I just wrote a piece called "The Ugly Truth," and it's about the transitioning process. And did you think about this? Did you think about that? And all the pain and the money and all that kind of stuff. And but at the end, it's because I wanted people to go in with eyes wide open, just to not go in blindsided and say, listen, okay, I know all of this, but I'm still going to do it because I'm ready.
Yeah.
Versus go into it and like, holy crap, you never told me this. That's not good. So, but it's always got this positive uplift to it, and that's really what I like to accomplish in my writing. I even write like short stories that people can read in 15 minutes that are usually about male to female, because that's me. Transformation process, either in a ghost story or an amulet or a pill they take that transforms them into another person, and to take people's mind away from the troubles of today and just kind of fantasize about that for 15 minutes and they're done. So I every once in a while I slip in a little story like that. So
Yeah.
it's fun. It's always fun to do that. It's kind of a little outlet for me.
So you're in your 60s. Can you share with us a couple of your like longevity tips? Because you look freaking fabulous. I know anyone who's watching this is going, what the freak? Like, what do I gotta do? Because your skin is fantastic. You're
Uh,
very strong. You're very fit. Like, give us some tips for keeping like looking fabulous and feeling really good and as we age. That's something I'm very interested in all the time. I want to be as fit as possible. Like do
well,
all
my,
of the
my my
things.
joking response is always, well, lots of sex, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm good
that
on
gets
that
people
one.
loosens people up. It loosens people up. Lots of sex, right? Um, yeah, but it's always being in the Marines. I was and I was always very athletic. So I did soccer and baseball and football and the whole thing. So I was always very active, and I ran the New York City Marathon and the whole thing. So I'm always doing something. And walk. I walk every morning from 5 o'clock to 6:30 in the morning a.m. So you see me post sometimes on my thing that hey, come on, join the 5 o'clock club. Let's go. And so it's keeping moving. When you stop moving, then everything collapses in your body. So you have to
Yeah.
keep moving to some extent. And I'm not just talking just in everyday life. You have to push yourself a little bit at least. So that's very, very important because it keeps everything going in your body, your muscles going in your brain, and it feeds your brain oxygen and the whole thing. So all that is really important. Some of it's genes, I guess, for lack of another way to explain it. But you know, it's eating right too, because also when you have a culinary background, you know kind of a little bit more what to feed yourself.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, it's exercise for the muscles, and if you feed your body the energy and the food necessary that it needs, then it's going to help to facilitate yourself as well too. And pay attention to your body and what it craves, because there's what they call a second brain in your body, which is your stomach. And the
Hmm.
second brain is, if it's craving something, it means it's missing something, or you're eating something or having something that is causing it to be like that, which could be diet soda or whatever. The aspartame in there causes you to want to crave things. So, but if you're eating halfway decent and your body's craving certain kinds of food or minerals or something, pay attention to that because you're not getting something, and then you have to correct that somehow to be able to have your body replenish itself. I'm not a huge sleeper, so I'm like 6 hours, I'm done and I'm up and I'm out. So, but I'm a big believer in the afternoon of taking a half an hour power nap. So I'll get 6 hours and I'm good to go. But afternoon, I need to relax and chill. And even if it's meditation or just chill and just kind of let it go for even 30 minutes, then I'm good to go for the rest of the day. Right. So power naps, exercise, even if it's speed walking, walking in the morning, doing something consistent, but you got to push yourself. And you got to be careful what you eat because, if you're giving your car crappy gas, guess what's going to happen? It's going to clog up the engine, your spark plugs, you clog, and your body's the same way. And all of a sudden, the wrinkles show up and your skin starts to deteriorate and things like all of that stuff happens because of what you're eating and what you're not giving your body and environment as well too. So, yeah.
Love that. I couldn't have said it better. Like all of those things. So good. Okay, Gwen, where can people follow you? What's the best places for them to find you? They want to hear more. They want to connect more with your story. They're going to find you where?
Okay, if they're on Facebook, just go to Gwen Patrone, all one word, Patrone, and you can also direct message me as well too. And don't just say hey, because I delete all of those. Hey, or how you doing? Give me a little bit of, hey, I saw you on Julie May, and then I'll talk to you. But if you say hey, how you doing? What's up? I'm going to delete. Okay, because I get so many of that stuff, and it's just a waste of my time. So, but if you say, "Hey, I saw you, Julie May," ask me a question, I'll start conversing with you, and we'll be friends, right? And so that's a way there as well too. But if you want to email me, you can also email me as well too. And it's the letter U, and then economy company at gmail.com. U economy company, like you can become your own economy, just the letter U. And I'll be happy to converse with you there as well too. And I said Instagram and TikTok. I have my channels coming out soon, which is culinary and A&D cleavage, culinary and cleavage. You'll see Sexy Gwen on there, and that will be coming out soon as well.
I'll be watching for that for sure.
If you text the word foodie, FOODIE, to this number 26786. I'll send you an instant text message, and that'll keep you up to date on the culinary program that I'm doing. I won't be, texting you like crazy, but it just updates what's going on when new things come out, things like that. But foodie to 26786 is another way you can get me too.
Oh, fabulous. Well, thank you, Dr. Gwen. It has been such a privilege and an honor to have you here. I love having more and more conversations with people of all different backgrounds and presentations. To me, you're a person, and I want to find out more about you. And I want to give other people permission to express themselves, what makes them feel fabulous. So thank you for that permission slip for them to go out and be fabulous, whatever that looks like for you. And with that, this has been Julie May and the Ridiculously You podcast. I'm excited for you to share more, share this one with your friends, open that conversation, follow us for more, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Share the spark, take it higher, hit subscribe, bring a friend, let the wildness never end.